almost
Are you
an
recording
hour.
right now?
Yeah, it's still recording.
Poo.
No,
I'm good.
it's
This is great.
We're almost
I
done.
know. I
We're almost
know.
through.
I
This is
know.
it.
I'm excited.
I
I've
love.
enjoyed this so much. I just
I know.
like.
Me too. I
I feel
love that
like
your last question. Yeah, it's like, okay, I've almost made it through the day. Oh, it's the elevator pitch. It's my last question.
your
Ah.
elevator pitch was long. All you have to do is go like this. Ta-da!
book.
Buy it.
It is a book. Okay. Greetings and welcome to the Quantum Ogre Cast, the topical TTRPG podcast you were destined to encounter no matter what choices you made. Today, I have two special guests, Bunny and Xane, who have an awesome backer kit that's coming.
Druskara.
Welcome, guys. Thanks for being here. Talk about Druskara for a second.
All right. Well, I am so happy to be here. We've been trying to do this for a while, so it's awesome to finally be here and talk to you and meet you. So, Druskara, it is a ShadowDark full complete campaign world setting where, and when I'm talking about complete, I'm really talking about complete. It is massive, but it's massive because it is a no prep campaign. So you
Yeah.
open up the book, you pick a starting location, and you can just start your group right in it. You don't have to read uh, 1,000 pages, 500 pages, 200 pages, 100 pages. Like you read like 4 pages and you're ready to go, and that's the whole point of that whole thing.
You're singing to me right now because that is exactly the kind of campaign setting that I would want to have. So awesome.
Ease for the DM and ease for the players because we do have the player lore guide that makes it easy for the DM to not show the players all the secrets, but have them read about some of the information that is for each city or each location or perhaps dungeon where they go into, or maybe rumors that they hear around town. Like we wanted to make it so that players could get immersed in the realm without having to accidentally cheat or read ahead, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, that's a really brilliant idea actually because sometimes you're joining a campaign and you're like, who is my character in this world? And you want like little snippets of you don't want to be spoon fed everything like DM, tell me where I can be from, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's a great idea. It really helps the
Yeah, it's like the
players.
common knowledge book, so you can kind of place yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. We're gonna get into all kinds of fun topics today. Gateways into the OSR. Why this book, why this setting. Things like that. But I always like to start off with a super weird question that throws off my guests because that's just the kind of host I am. So, 80s cartoons. Are you ready for this? Did you?
Maybe.
I don't want to age anyone here, but did you have did you have any big influential 80s cartoons that you just you got up every Saturday to watch, that sort of thing, or maybe older?
Oh no, it was 80s cartoons for me for sure. It was probably, well, Justice League and Spider Friends, I think. So I loved my superhero stuff. So those were my favorites. And anytime I could see a superhero cartoon, I would set my alarm to see those.
Awesome.
I used to watch the very ancient My Little Pony when I was tiny and the Flintstones. But like the one that I remember the most was, have you guys ever seen Nemo? It's where this kid, like, I don't know if I honestly don't remember the premise. I just know that he goes onto his bed and he flies around in like a dream world and he goes to this fantastical realm where I think he like accidentally unleashes the nightmare, and it's pretty crazy. I don't know. I really liked it. You should look into it. I think it's for children, but it was very dark.
That's what's kind of fun about older cartoons is the lines get really blurred and the ideas
Yeah.
were so weird, and it was like they were just throwing everything at the wall to see what stuck, and it shows.
I almost
Yes.
miss that about things nowadays, but I understand that, people grow, generations change, and things have to
And
evolve.
people could go have trauma from whatever it was might be that
Right.
they watched.
Oh yeah, yeah. For me, that was the Brave Little Toaster. I don't know if you guys ever saw that one,
I,
but
yes. Oh my God, that was scary. It
that
was actually scary.
that movie scarred me. But I watched it
Yeah.
all the time for some reason. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Same.
It's terrible. It is not a kids movie. I'll just say that. Go watch it if you've never seen it. It's nightmare fuel inducing. So.
Oh, I believe you. I mean, I remember it. I barely remember it, but didn't he get lost in the dumpster area or something like a
There,
dump?
there's a long sequence where it's like old cars getting crushed, and they're all singing about being useless. I don't know why
Oh
this
my
is a kids
gosh.
movie.
Oh man, that must have been a metaphor. Holy moly. That's me. I am the car.
Yeah. Anyways, I thought, 80s cartoons are everyone has a weird one that they watched, and it just stuck with them for some reason. It was a Wild West kind of era, so.
Was Scooby-Doo in the 80s?
It was definitely still around. I don't know when it came
Yeah,
out.
it was around for sure.
Okay. I don't know what really was released in the 80s because, I'm an 88 baby, so
Oh, same.
I was semi-born. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, happy birthday eventually if you already didn't have one. I did.
I do have a
February.
birthday every year, so.
I believe you.
Amazing.
No, you don't. You're lying.
Well, okay, on that note, let's smoothly segue into a sponsor. Stick around because we have a lot more fun stuff coming up. Like I said, we're going to talk more about Druskara, ShadowDark, things like that. Thank you guys so much. I'm excited for the episode ahead, and we'll be right back after this word. Hey, do you want to try more TTRPGs? What if I told you you could try them for free? Check out Crit, community-run Infinite Tabletop, a completely free online gaming convention with some awesome game masters, including myself and these folks who I interviewed on a previous episode of my podcast. Mark your calendars for June 20th through the 28th. Check out the link in the description below, and remember to game at Crit. We'll see you there. So I've been doing this thing, I call it the death list, and what I do is if someone's character dies in the game, I let them go through and pick new options that they can now select from. And so one of my players died, and he wanted to be the plague doctor. So we've got a plague doctor on our team now. Yeah, and he's loving it. That class in particular is absolutely bonkers. It's got so many tools to tinker with, literally. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so wait a minute. So somebody dies, and what do you do? How do you help them?
Yeah.
What options do you give them?
So we start off with just the core 4 and 6 ancestries and classes, and I have like a literal checklist. And when they die, they get to pick an option. Every time one of their characters dies, they select a new option. So somebody's picked like gnome, and that guy just started with a plague doctor. Somebody else is looking at what's the anti-paladin sort of class? It's escaping me right now. But it just gives them something.
The Knight of Saint.
Yes, Saint Idris or Idris.
Idris, yeah.
It just gives people like something I think to look forward to after their character just gets totally demolished.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's kind of weird because it's rewarding death.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that in that you're unlocking things, but it's a video game concept, right? You got to get so far and then you unlock the thing, but yours is like the reverse. So it's like you've got to die to unlock the thing. That'd be weird if in video games if they did it that way.
Well, actually,
I mean, I think that's a thing, actually.
I pulled it from like roguelite games, because in roguelite games, you try to get as far as you can, and when you die, you typically unlock more and more things.
Oh,
so that it was like this nice marriage of like old school games and that concept of like roguelite. So I was like, yeah, this fits so well. But yeah,
I like it.
I still give them those options too. If they like, if you befriended a dark elf or something like that, then you also can check off a box and unlock that
Right,
class.
that's a good idea too. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's cool. And when you have you have areas in your world, they travel to the dark elf location or to the Sasquatch lands, then they can be a yeti or they can be a dark elf. You can do it that way too.
Yeah, exactly.
Sasquatch lands.
It's sort of it incentivizes that exploration aspect of the game, which something that I love.
Yeah, and that definitely feels like the video game thing too. So that's pretty cool. I like that. It's a good table role.
Thank you.
I agree.
I have a little. You can find it online if you're watching this later. I'll put a link or something down below. But I always like to start things off with a more casual conversation. So there's a fun one I've been stumping people with lately, which is, what was y'all's third TTRPG that you ever played? So not counting
Okay.
different editions of D&D. So that's the real hard part.
So, okay, let me just start with where I started. Pathfinder.
Same, yeah.
Where did I go after that? 3.5. And then so I think AD&D is actually my third thing that I ended up in. Yeah. It wasn't my choice, it's just what the DMs were, running, so I just went along with it. And I wasn't too into gaming at the time. I mean, that was back in 2012. So I was, I'm just like, whatever this is. And I learned, but in like I think like in 2017 I really started getting into Pathfinder and D&D and like 1E and basic fantasy and stuff like that. So it took me a while, but I actually got pretty invested, and obviously here I am now with my own stuff.
Yeah, I'd say you got pretty invested.
Yeah, I think I got pretty deep.
What about you, Zane?
Well, yeah, boy, I had to really think about that because that's going to be, we're talking about the 80s. And I think, I mean, I'm kind of guessing, but I'm pretty sure it was, of course, D&D first, like the red box set. Then I think it was Traveler. And then I think my third one was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where
Oh,
you could be any of, you mutate an animal and you create your character as a mutated animal. Now,
I want to be a cat.
your next question would be, what was your first character? And I could not tell you that. I just remember those rules and being, I don't know what I was, but I think I was fascinated by the idea. Oh, I'm going to try to find the weirdest animal that I can possibly be a mutated form of.
yeah. That's funny. I think there was just a new. Is it a new Ninja Turtles that was re-released, or maybe I just have some fans on the Discord who were like getting back into Ninja Turtles? But I feel like a new one just came out or something, like a new book.
That
I
doesn't
don't
sound
think
too
you're
far off.
wrong. I think you actually might be right, but I don't follow Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like I used to. Because like when I was a kid, I was totally into those, watching the real action ones. My gosh, those were so funny.
Oh yeah,
And they were weird in puppetry. Like I love the puppetry, but yeah, I don't follow it now. So unfortunately, I have no clue. But I think you might be right. I think I did see something about it.
yeah. It's been a long time for me too, but I think here's a little known fact about me. I think I could probably quote the Ninja Turtles movies from memory. That's how much I watched those when I was
Oh my
younger.
God. Wow.
The
Well, I was probably a little too old for it. I like wasn't as into it because it was like one of those things that all the kids were into, and I wasn't a kid anymore.
Yeah, you're with
But
that cool edgy phase where you're like, ah,
yeah, why do I want to deal with that? Another system that might have been my third would have been Rollmaster.
mm,
If you're familiar with that ridiculous game. I mean, I was amazed by it as a kid. Now I would be repulsed just because of having to look up everything in a table every time you do anything. But at the time it was like, wow, look at all these possibilities of horrible things that can happen to you when you get hit.
yeah. I only know legends of that game. I've not played it, but yeah, that's I've kind of moved away. You know, there's a place for those games and there's time for it whenever you a season of life where you really have a lot of time to delve into like character builds, things like that. But we were just talking before we started recording. Tired old dad at the moment. So like, games like Morkborg and ShadowDark are my games right now. Where you can kind of cram most of the rules in your head. You don't have to keep referencing stuff over and over. But
Yeah, and they're so intuitive, and you just kind of roll, dice six times, and then all of a sudden you have a character. Like it is very smooth.
I mean, there's a character generator. You don't even have to do anything. You just press like go beep.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah. And you guys have some of your own character options on that generator, which I'm
Yes,
I'm
we do
sure you're stoked for. That's an
for sure.
awesome privilege. That's so cool to be like. I can't imagine having like written a book and to be on the like official website. So pretty cool.
Well, yeah, and it was a different order, right? Like so we had done that and worked it out with oh no, I'm gonna forget his name all of a sudden, but I
Michael.
didn't get much sleep. Yeah, Michael. and we worked out a deal with him, and then he was purchased uh,
Mm,
by Kelsey and Arcane Library. So I think we just worked. Our timing was really good on that. I think
nice. That's awesome. Opportunists. Classic rogue
that's
there.
right.
Well, I was thinking about this too. You guys have, so you have Druskara that's coming out, and you already did Unnatural Selection. So what was your gateway into sort of the old school realm? Like, was it ShadowDark, or were there other games that you'd played
Basic
previously?
fantasy.
Basic Fantasy.
Basic fantasy and 1E because we had a DM that would do hardcore D&D 1E and would do basic fantasy, and that's pretty much what got us in there. But there's so many limitations to basic fantasy, like spellcasting kind of it's very lackluster because you have two spells. You literally can only cast twice anything. And that's it. I mean that kind of sucks. And that's kind of what bridged us into the Shadowdark because Shadowdark is 1E but like with like because it is what it says it is. It's like OSR reimagined kind of like thing that like I think it's completely like hitting the nail on the head right there. I like the spellcasting. Always loved the spellcasting the most. But yeah, that's what changed for me. I like that.
Yeah, and for me, of course, when I was a kid, I was playing the red box set, the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and so when it came time to run something, I got to play Pathfinder and a couple of other things. Okay, so to step back, I mean, I was in the video game industry for my regular career for the
Oh,
longest
cool.
time, 22 years, and so when I was in that industry, nobody in there played TTRPGs, and that was I had to move to go to this company, so I knew nobody. So I ended up being friends with all the people at the video game company, and so we played video games. That was it. Like we didn't even play board games. So I went for a long time without playing TTRPGs, and so when I came back to it, I started playing Pathfinder and 5e, and I was like, holy crap, this is ridiculous. I do not want to have to do any of that. I cannot imagine running like it just didn't look like it was fun to run. I didn't want to have to be looking up rules all the time and having my players know the rules better than me and argue with me. Just that whole idea just didn't appeal to me. So that's when we found that's when I found Basic Fantasy and started using that, and I liked it because it harkened back so much to my childhood.
Mm.
But some little improvements, like the AC system better, little things like that. But then yeah, once Shadow Dark was announced, we dove into it right away and just converted everybody over. Nope, we're done with this. We're moving into Shadow Dark for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to put it this way. I really do like a lot of things about games like 5e and Pathfinder, but the way I usually say it is like I did my time in the trenches. Like I played my campaigns that lasted a few years, and we went all the way to like 17, 18 level, and it was fun when I had the time to do those sorts of things, to really dig in, to like really just know every corner case rule. But I also found that like creatively it sort of restricts you when you have everything laid out, like
Too many
every
rules. Yeah.
yeah, you start to lose some of the imagination space, some of that like freedom of we're creating a story together. And I found that it wasn't really, at the end of the day, the kinds of stories I wanted to tell, you know. So yeah, I ended up getting kind of into more and more fringe games, indie games that people had never heard of, and forcing my players to try like Burning Wheel and Shadow Dark and stuff, and just ended up finding that that was like way more my bag. So
Yeah, it makes total sense. And it's just it's it's light enough that you can, make a lot of rulings and no one's going to get the book out and point at the paragraph and say, no, you can't do that. But it's also got enough rules that again are very intuitive. Like, they're all they're all my favorite rules from all the systems. Like, okay,
yeah,
I know exactly what to do in this case. It's simple. And that's what I really like about it.
yeah, and I find that a lot of people they enjoy the frameworks of like the classes, the ancestries, the fantasy tropes and things, even if it is just a sentence or two about what gnomes can do, or your fighter is one page, with a chart that you roll on instead of 25 feats in the back of the book or something like that. But yeah, it's a good change of pace, and I think my groups have been really enjoying it, as also a bunch of tired old dads who have no time to read, academic size textbooks. So,
Right. I mean, really, what it comes down to is what is it that you love about role playing? Do you love the crunchiness? Because if you do, then you're going to find a crunchy system. But if you love storytelling, then you're going to, go towards something that's rules light so that you can really tell those stories, use your character voices, create an immersive situation as opposed to a war game tabletop simulator.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so to shift the topic just a little bit here, Bunny and Xane, how many interviews have you done today?
This is number 6, I think, actually.
It's number 7.
Never freaking mind. I don't know. Sorry, I'm sorry that I keep yawning. It is nothing to do with you. It
No,
has
no.
everything to do with I just haven't slept.
I saw you. I was like, you guys are probably dead tired by the time you got on this show. So I
Oh yeah,
feel
for
you.
sure.
I'm not too bad. I don't know. Maybe I had my second wind. I had a little snack, which normally would make me fall asleep, but for some reason it gave me a little bit of
Oh, it did
energy.
what it was
So
supposed to.
I'm feeling pretty good actually. But I know that this is going to be a what is it? It's a night's
Temporary
sleep that I won't even remember any moment of it. Like it'll be 12
bonk,
hours straight.
and then you'll wake up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I can imagine that as soon as you go to a crowdfunder, Kickstarter, backer kit, that sort of thing, it's got to be such an ordeal that it's like it's crunch time, right? Like now is the time to get the thing that we put all this work and love into out there, and you want to
Oh, yeah, for
really
sure.
give it legs. So I'm sure it's like it's a lot of work in a short amount of time. So
Oh yeah, it is. It really is. But he's been working on, well, the backer kit we've been working on for like a month, but everything else that has to do with it, like the writing of the stuff and putting it into a format, that's like over 4 years. So it's, ooh.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I was a producer in the video game industry, which
So
is,
he knows what he's doing.
well, to that degree, yes. But what's interesting about that
Sort of.
role is that you're mostly time estimating everything. So it'll take this long to implement this character. It'll take this long to add this, to create this sound effect or whatever. So I know all that stuff, and I could just do it off the top of my head after doing it for 20 plus years. But it's funny when you're the one who's doing all the stuff, right? Like I'm the one telling you how long it's going to take you to do something. That's what it was in the video game industry. Now it's I'm doing the after effects for the intro video. I'm doing the font editor to create the font. I'm doing all this stuff. I have no idea how long this is gonna take,
yeah.
and it's way longer than I would have ever expected it to be. So yeah, it's been a grind, but as always, if you love it, it's not a grind. It's just passion. Get up, get to work on it all day, go to bed, fall asleep, get up and do it again.
Are you sure
And
you
it's
go to bed and fall asleep?
it's great, yeah.
Stay awake all night, stay awake all morning, stay awake all day, maybe go to bed at night at some point.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys have been burning the midnight oil. We were talking again before the mics went on, but let's shift to talk about Druskara a bit, because it's an exciting setting book. So here's a fun question for you, right? Let's put it this way: pretend I'm someone who isn't a big fan of setting books. What is your
Okay.
pitch to that person for
Oh,
Druskara?
oh my gosh. Okay. Well, are you a DM or are you a player?
Oh,
And it's
forever
an
DM,
imaginary
forever DM.
scenario. Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So, and I would ask more questions. What would you do instead if you didn't use a campaign book? What do you do?
Oh, I would say I'm the kind of guy who I just always make my own setting every time. Every time there's a new campaign, I go to the drawing board and I start writing things down. So what do you say to that guy?
But do you enjoy the effort? Like,
It depends. Yeah, yeah. If there's something to springboard off of, a good idea, then maybe that's a good starting place. And
yeah,
then I
for sure.
build it out from there.
Because
Right.
Duscara is like a plug and play if he's feeling lazy, or sorry, not he, if you're feeling lazy, and you're just like, okay, well, I have to run D&D. I am exhausted. My kid just puked all over the place, and I
That
don't
did
have
just
time to
happen.
do this. Well, you just grab Duscara. I mean, there's already dungeons, there's maps, there's cities, NPCs, and so many other things that just help you just jump into it without having to really think too much.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
Yeah,
what I would
it's
say, but maybe Zane
yeah.
would say something better than me
No,
because I don't know.
it's very similar. Like I would say, how much time do you have? You know, if you've got a whole bunch of extra time, and then my other question is, what do you like doing more? Do you like playing at the table, or do you like inventing
Mm,
stuff on your own? If you like inventing stuff on your own, then that's what you should do. But if you actually enjoy playing with your players, then maybe you should consider getting a very thorough campaign book, because it's going to save you all that time and you're going to be able to just play.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the thing I'm starting to realize more and more. I'll give you a little bit of a behind the scenes too here, where like I pitched it this way because I used to be the guy who was like, "Oh, I don't need a campaign setting book. I'll make it all up on my own," and I would just spend weeks prepping something.
Exactly.
But you hit the nail on the head. Nowadays, I'm like, give me a cool campaign setting. Give me a Druskara. Give me a Dolmenwood. Give me something that I can just open up. And most of the, let's say 90% of the work is done for me, right? So I can just build on that with my own creativeness, my own ideas, stuff like that. But you guys have laid the foundation. I don't have to start from scratch, a blank board. I can open this book and I could point to a region and go, this sounds cool up in the north with the snow. That's where I want to be. This is where I want to set the campaign, that sort of thing. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other thing to consider is, what kind of campaign do you want to run? And do you want, because there's so many of them out there, and everybody writes kind of for themselves,
mm,
right? Because they write what they think would be cool, or and then they write it in a way that they understand.
yeah.
So when you're doing that, then you might end up getting one where you go, I don't get this person who wrote this. Like, I don't get what they're going for. I don't understand the underlying X, Y, and Z. So I'm having a little bit of trouble actually running this because I don't think the same way that they do. So that's another factor to really consider is, do you align with the way that the writer or writers created their world? And if so, then man, it's going to flow really well.
Yeah, not to go on a total side tangent here, but you reminded me of something, which is, I don't want to just harp on like D&D and 5e, but like when I first started game mastering, I tried to do a lot of the big campaign books that were like, the 300-page Rime of the Frost Maiden kind of stuff, and it just didn't click with me. It just wasn't it didn't work for my brain. And then I discovered like Kelsey's stuff, like the Cursed Scrolls and things like that, and the conciseness, the pithiness of the way that she wrote those settings really clicked with me. I was like, I can build off this. This is what I need. So yeah, like it seems like Druskara being a ShadowDark product is in the same vein. Obviously, this is a much bigger world than like your Cursed Scrolls and stuff like that. But yeah, that's a really great point, Zane. I think a lot of folks will find that this is a kind of book that really clicks with that old school style, or ShadowDark in particular.
I really hope so. Well, I mean, because it is based in the ShadowDark realm, I really hope that it really does click for many people, and it clearly has clicked for some people.
Yeah, I would say that what you get when you read the Shadow Dark book, the core rule book, is again that conciseness, right? It's nice and clear. You only have to read a sentence or two to understand everything that's going on, whether it's a room description or whether it's a rule. It's one or two sentences, and bam, you know it. And
Yeah,
that, I think, that writing style is, I think that's one of the main reasons that Shadow Dark has done so well, is because you don't have to interpret. You don't have to try to, dig so long that you're still going, I don't understand what this is. It's so straightforward and so clear. so that's of course what we modeled everything after, and that's what unnatural selection was all about. I had a great opportunity to work with a guy who was like a ShadowDark ethos expert right away, right from the get go. And I had worked on mostly licensed products, right? I'd worked on in the video game industry. I worked on Family Guy and Iron Man, and trying to make games out of these weird licenses. But at the same time, I was the vision holder as a producer. I had to carry that vision of the restrictions and what you were allowed to do and what you weren't allowed to do, and how to the language of that license. So for 22 years, I did that. Well, then when it came to this, that kind of came naturally to me. Okay, I'm going to make it just like I think she would accept, as though she were the licensor and she was going to approve every sentence or every paragraph. If I can make it so that I think that it would be approved, then I think that it's going to be loved by the audience. And I'm going to love it because it's nice and straight and clear and easy to understand. So that's pretty much why I feel like that unnatural selection creation went as well as it did. I had a great teacher and I had that prior experience.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and like you're saying, especially with products like ShadowDark, sometimes less is more. Sometimes having that breathing room, you've got a good template to work off of. But it's not constricting. It's not. I at least as an outsider looking in, who's seen your first book, Unnatural Selection, and is excited for Druskara. Yeah, I mean, while we're in this vein, let's talk about some inspirations. Let's talk about getting to the meat of the feel of what Druskara is. Do you have anything that comes to mind when you guys were writing this? Any sort of inspirations you'd point towards?
Well, I would say that as a kid, I wanted to be in a in a living world, right? Like I didn't want the world to be frozen until I showed up. I wanted to transition and change and be bigger than me. So that's a major inspiration, just the idea of that. And then, we got to play test it and continue to with three groups running simultaneously through the same world, and they're influencing the world and each other inadvertently, and so I get to experience that.
When you said living world, do you mean like in a sort of what is it, Greyhawk kind of way, or was it just the idea of a growing world that expands all the time?
Yeah, as far I'm not as familiar with Greyhawk. I must have skipped it or something, like because everybody knows that so well, and I don't happen to know it all.
I
So
Full disclosure, I was not on board with D&D during the Greyhawk eras, but I just always hear the tales of it was like it's an expanding world and your choices really mattered and everything you did, had effects on the rest of the world, that sort of thing. So
yeah, so then it's the same thing, but it's not based on that because I missed that somehow. I think I don't know when that was a big thing. I don't know what decade that was a big thing, but for whatever reason I missed it.
80s, 90s. I don't
If it
know.
was 90s, I definitely would have missed it because by then I was, on to the video game world.
Gotcha. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Just every time I hear Living World, immediately my brain goes Greyhawk. So
I have a lot of friends that either write for Greyhawk, and I just made a friend that does maps for Greyhawk, and
oh, cool.
they all know Greyhawk, but I have no idea what Greyhawk. I guess I'm just gonna have to do some research.
Yeah, it probably is time because it keeps coming up. So
I really didn't start playing till 2017, so I I didn't really go backwards, I guess, sort of.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I'm right there with you. I started about 2016, so
okay.
I didn't see a point at the time of like going backwards until later when I discovered like the old school scene, and then I was like, okay, actually, there was a lot of cool stuff happening back in the day, so I need to read up more on it. So
yeah, and even if it was during the 80s, I think it was just my friends and I that were playing, advanced D&D and not buying new books. I mean, we were kids, so we didn't have the money to really do that sort of thing. So we were just making up our own stuff all the time. So yeah,
yeah, so if you're out there listening, and you're like, I missed out on all the cool stuff. Well, maybe the cool stuff is happening right now. So there's your
heck
pitch
yeah.
to go get Druskara.
So that's a major inspiration. But then you look at boy, do you remember the video game Star Control?
No, I'm not familiar.
Okay. So Star Control 3 was that. It was this crazy living world, and you just flew around. You just had little silly little spaceships, and you just flew around and tried to conquer worlds. And every time you played it, it was a completely different outcome. The
Mm.
Urquan were taking over the world one time I played, and the next time it was a completely different group. So that's kind of an inspiration for this. And Game of Thrones very much is an
Mm.
inspiration for this because it's all about the factions and it's about vying for
Yeah.
control and power. So yeah, so that with 50 plus years of gaming and absorbing culture, pop culture, and movies and TV shows and all that, you're going to see all kinds of different aspects of that represented in this. And Bunny has her own specific and different viewpoint on that same world. So the combination of the two creates some pretty cool opportunities for new ideas too, right?
Yeah, I like that kind of partnership that we can both have different opinions and different viewpoints of what we're working on, and that's how like we're able to make things so unique and potentially think of things that we never would have thought of otherwise if we were just by ourselves.
Yeah, it's like
Yep, and she's a harsh critic, which is really good. She'll
Yeah,
just
I'm a
say,
but
"Nope, this is dumb," and like, okay,
I do.
we'll make it less dumb. Let's go.
It's really just like that. That's not even an
Yeah, she does not
exaggeration.
hold back.
Nope. I'm just honest. I don't want you to like, I don't know. I'm sorry.
No, it's great. It's perfect. Yeah, you don't hear me complaining. I'm just pointing out that's how it is, and it's powerful. And you need that. As a creative person my entire life, if I didn't have that feedback, I made stuff that was okay or pretty good. But when I had that feedback, the opportunity was there to be great or to be wonderful or to be whatever that you want to describe. So I do see the value in that.
Thanks.
yeah, and so much of like D&D style games, TTRPG stuff is a collaborative sort of effort, and I'm the same way. Even when I was just doing my regular old D&D 5th edition kind of game, I would have my friends that I would sort of like act as a sounding board to throw ideas at, and make sure it was like, does this idea suck, or is it just cool to me, or does anybody else like this, that sort of thing. So, but I was going to ask Bunny, would you say do your answers differ any from Zane's as like far as like inspirations for Druskara, or is it kind of in the same vein, or
I mean, I didn't watch Game of Thrones. What I have watched I did watch what's that new TV show?
The Dragon Prince?
No,
No.
the Night of
Oh yeah,
something
the actually
something
the newest Game of
A Knight of
Thrones.
the
Yeah.
Realm?
Yeah.
Yes, that's a really that is absolutely stellar, except for the last episode, but stellar. Yeah, I didn't like the last episode.
Well,
I
no
don't know.
spoilers. I haven't actually seen it yet, so
Worth watching. I never watched Game of Thrones. I wasn't able to get into it, but holy moly, that was definitely amazing. So yeah, I would say that's kind of like inspiration for it too, wouldn't it be? Even though it came out after we were making it, it seems so very in the realm of the ShadowDark ethos and of the Duscara ethos, like very brutal, very real. Like you screw up, you die.
yeah.
But yeah, the Dragon Prince. You mentioned the Dragon Prince. Yeah, that is
Just Jess, I was trying to guess what you were trying to think
no.
of, so I threw that out there.
I would say the Dragon Prince. It's a Netflix show. It's very I wouldn't say it really inspired so much as it really helps get like you feeling very creative. Like it's a very wholesome and sometimes harsh, but very wholesome and imaginative world. Like and the people who created it are amazing and they really are capable of telling a story. I think maybe that's where some inspiration comes from because they tell such great stories in that series that I think Zane and I try to help bring that grand, interconnected storylines like to our Druskara realm.
Yeah.
My brain just farted them, so I don't know what
You're
I was
doing
talking
great.
about.
No, you're fine. No, I get what you're saying too, because like it is funny the places that we pull inspiration from sometimes, because it might not even seem connected, But like I'm a big fan of like Hayao Miyazaki films, and sometimes it's
Oh my
weird.
God, Miyazaki films.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's weird how his like film structure has just worked its way into my brain, and then that comes out in maybe the way that I reveal something in a scene, or things like that when I'm running games. But
I understand that for sure. And honestly, I don't think you've really seen fantastical until you've seen Miyazaki's imagination in the films, because those are truly some of the most fantastical and, how do you say this, because they weren't inspired by anything possibly folklore, but they are literally just out of the ether. Like, they're always very unique and never seen. Like, and
yeah,
I might have to start looking at those for inspiration too.
like you said, it's almost like modern folklore. It's so different, It's got its own ethos. So, one last sort of question about Druskara specifically. Give me the back of the book elevator pitch. What is the setting? Who is it for? That sort of thing. I'm sure you guys have
You
done this
say back of
seven.
the book.
Yeah, back of the book.
Okay, so the ShadowDark has begun to invade even the daylight. We have ourselves a perpetually cloudy situation that nobody understands why, and so the resulting um, uh, consequence is that the realm is in decline. Everybody's having trouble with food. Everybody's having trouble with survival, and so we've got this, going toward apocalyptic state that's currently happening. Here's where you come in. Do you want to try to help this realm? Do you want to try to make a difference here? And if you do, you're in for it, because there's very few ways to do it other than survive yourself. There's not a lot of surplus available to you. So one of the best ways to do it is to find one of the crystals, the core crystals. And those core crystals are immensely powerful. They can change the world just like that, but at the same time, they're very dangerous. You can destroy yourself, you can destroy your friends, you can change yourself completely. You can be taken over by an evil god. Like, so many things can happen wrong. So do you risk it? Do you take that and say, all right, let's use this thing? Everybody, uh, watch out, stand back. I'm going to see if I can solve this problem. And since it is a living world situation, then at any time the world could completely change, and all of a sudden you're the most hunted people in the world because you have a core crystal, and this particular faction wants it because they want to change the world in the way they want to. So you bring in this high level of challenge. It's still dungeon delving. There's still opportunities to find things and to find the crystals even in a dungeon, let's say. um, but there's a much larger world at stake.
Very much, will you rise to the occasion and become the
For
heroes the
sure.
realm needs? That sort of
But
thing.
hold
Right.
on, you can also destroy the realm. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I have a group of people who have definitely destroyed the realm. Or
There's
had a hand in it.
there's always that player or two at every table.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, sorry, that's me. Um,
Uh,
sometimes, not always. I actually am a team player. I prefer it, but not when it was with this team. This team was different. I was able to do this. Like, I wouldn't normally do that with a normal group, but this group is totally not normal. Nope. It
some
was great though. And he said elevator pitch, so you're supposed to be like,
Oh, sort of.
look
Yeah.
at the book.
Right.
Isn't
Right.
it pretty?
oh
Do you
that
want it?
that is a gorgeous book. I definitely want the special edition.
This one's the empty one. We have two. This is like a glorified sketchbook, and he has one that's actually not empty.
Oh
And then of
man,
course we
that
have this one too.
it's hard to pick because that's a great cover art.
Well, I
Like,
guess you just have to get both because there's the ultimate collection, and you can.
Pay over time's enabled. You don't have to pay all up
don't
front.
do this to me. My wallet's already hurting. There's too many good Kickstarters.
I understand for sure.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show today. I've enjoyed Unnatural Selection. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy Druskara. Looking forward to this one. Where can the folks at home find this book before it goes live? What's the website that we're going to link down below?
So it's actually just Druskara.com. We just forward that domain straight to the backer kit page. And, today, the day of this recording is the launch day. So, we'll see where we're at then, but it's been an amazing day. We're very, very happy and very pleased with the reception that it's garnered. So we're excited to see where it takes us.
Well, sick kids, barring any more craziness, this will probably release a week after. So it's only, if you're watching now, it's only been a week. So get out there, check out Druskara. Don't miss this one. This is going to be an awesome campaign setting. I'm looking forward to it. Again, thank you guys for being here. And if you're listening at home, leave a review. Go see these guys' books. They're awesome. And we'll see you next time down in the dungeon, no matter what choices you make. If you want to stay plugged in or support me personally, these are the best ways to do so, through the mailing list or the Patreon, both of which you can sign up for free. Thank you guys so much. As always, learn, adapt, and grow. We'll see you next time.